What up, y'all? It's sad how they'll tell you in a heartbeat, be equal to people, share with everybody, right? They teach you that when you're young. Share with everybody. You have to share with everyone, right? And then as time goes on, you feel it when you're young. You feel it. You know something's wrong. But then as time goes on, we get older, we start to realize that the world is a little bit more divided. When we're young, they tell us share with everybody, right? They tell you, share. You have to share. Doesn't matter what the person looks like. Doesn't matter how the person speaks. Doesn't matter how big or small, boy or girl. They tell you, share. You have to share with everybody. But then as you get older, you start to realize the world is not so simple, right? And you also realize that there are so many different people that even with that being a good lesson, the problem is that even when you tell all of the children to share and be nice to all of the other children, you start realizing that as adults, teenagers, there's a process of division that happens. And certain groups of individuals get favoritism, some more than the others. But then you still have this. And it's a blessing because I wouldn't want to be anybody else. I like my skin. But what happens is that as a man, a black man, not only do I have to sit back and see other cultures have favoritism over my people who are constantly used, abused, berated, belittled, degraded. There's so many things I can think of, but we go through the most. And just because Dave Chappelle spoke the truth, the man didn't lie in anything that he said. He spoke the truth. And because Dave spoke the truth, people are upset at him. They're upset at him. But a representative for Dave Chappelle reached out to Netflix. A representative for Dave Chappelle reached out to Netflix and said, Mr. Chappelle will sit down with whoever he has to sit down with to rectify this. Because Dave Chappelle wasn't trying to hurt anybody's feelings. Dave Chappelle made it clear before, during, and after the joke that I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just letting you know that I have to speak the truth. It has to be said. We have to say it because this is wrong. What's going on? This is wrong. He explained his situation, how a person who looked like they were getting ready to attack him, they felt threatened by him, picked up the phone and called the police. All he said was, I noticed that there are ongoing instances with this particular group and they're getting away with it because of who they are. And people are afraid to speak out about it. Well, I want to speak out about it. And because he spoke out about it, now they're trying to out Dave Chappelle. No, take his special off. No. What do you mean? Do you understand when Eminem said what he said about Sir Elton John? We're going to say Sir Elton John because he is a sir. He has been knighted and well respected in England. But Sir Elton John was mentioned by Marshall Mathers, aka Eminem, and because of the tone that Eminem used when speaking of Mr. Elton John, Jimmy Iovine made it his business that Eminem was to go and apologize to Sir Elton John. And not only that, do it live on stage in front of everybody. Because when it comes to that, we don't care if you one of us. You can't speak on that. You can't go after one of them. And that's real. You understand? When it comes to those situations, that community is not to be played with. I really don't even want to say their name. It's real. Like when it comes to that, that community is off limits. Like, it's sad because even as a comedian who, for a living, you make harsh, humorous jokes, but it's your truth. This is how you make people laugh. You give people the truth through humor, and you make them laugh. It's a loving thing. There's no hate. There's no malice in it. He's a comedian. This is his job. This is what he wants to do. He's been doing this for years. And because he tells the truth about a certain group of individuals, those group of individuals have the right to actually say his show should be pulled. No, that's not right. Come on, man. That's sad, man. What bothers me is the integration in every platform that we have. Superman is now going to be bisexual. That is the craziest thing to me. Superman is going to be bisexual? What? Since we were kids, Superman and Lois, that's what it was. Now they telling us that Superman is going to be bisexual. Come on, man. Captain America is bisexual. I read an X-Men comic about, I want to say 6 years ago, 2015, 2014. Read an X-Men comic book where Beast is going on a date, but Beast winds up dating a guy. I couldn't believe it. I was so thrown. I'm like, what's this? And what they did was they integrated Facebook in the comic book. Like, you know, Beast is telling all the other X-Men, you know, I met him on Facebook and nice person. I'm shocked. I'm nervous. I don't know. And I'm like, I was confused because I'm like, when did this ever happen? Like, even all the way as far most recently, it's about 3 or 4 years, maybe 4 years, 5 years since the Power Rangers movie came out. But even in that, they push the bisexual lifestyle, or the label rather, on, I believe it was the Yellow Ranger. They placed it on her, which was so strange because it was like, not only did they put it out in the news, but they made sure they put it out in the newspaper. And I was so confused, like, why is it so important for them to tell everybody that this character is bisexual, or this character is, like, but why do you have to say that? Why? That's my thing. I don't have a problem with anyone's sexual preference. Let me say that again. Saying that in this video, I do not have a problem with anyone's sexual preference. My thing is, why do we have to incorporate it in children's illustrations? This is what I'm saying. Why? Why do we have to put these things upon children? Why do we have to put this on kids? To do what? Because if kids are curious, kids are going to want to know. And when kids try to inquire of curiosity, and they think that it's okay, that can develop something early that necessarily doesn't need to be there. That could potentially ruin a child. That's just my thing. Why place it? Why? Why do you got to change the comic books and the way things are going with the cartoons and the characters' roles? And you know what? Let's try to tweak this and tweak that. Why? Why do you have to do that? Why? Why do we got to do that to the kids? Why can't we let the kids stick to the birds and the bees? Why can't they just stick to that? The birds and the bees. Why they got to learn the birds and the birds, the bees and the bees? Why we have to do that to the kids? I mean, that's my whole thing. Have your own preference as an adult. Do what you want to do as an adult. As an adult, nobody can knock you. You do what you want to do. But don't force the kids to have to understand your lifestyle. That's not right. That's just me personally. That's how I feel. But I salute Mr. Chappelle, because he knew that he was going to get flack for this. Dave Chappelle knew he was going to get flack for this. And I'm going to tell you why he knew he was going to get flack for this, right? When he came out, he said to everybody, I want to let y'all know something. And I don't want y'all to be upset with me, but this is going to be my last show for a while. He said that. You think Dave Chappelle didn't know? Yeah, he's a comedian. Yeah, he's funny, but he's smart. He's very smart. And he knew what he was doing. Let me explain something to you right now. And it really isn't all that bad, them attacking Dave Chappelle, because you know why? Or trying to out him. You know why? Because Dave Chappelle has persevered through $50 million being thrown in his face, saying, yo, you take this or that's it. And him saying, listen, I made you guys $500 million in a few seasons. How dare y'all tell me that y'all are only going to give me 10% of what I made y'all in a few years? Dave Chappelle had to go through that type of adversity, and he survived. And Netflix called him. He didn't call Netflix. Netflix called Dave Chappelle to do the shows. He didn't call Netflix. We have to keep that in mind. Why? Because his demand was so high after going through what he went through with Comedy Central and saying, you know what, forget it. I'm not doing nothing. His demand was so high that they said, you know what, we'll give you 20, 30, 40, 50 million if you come back and do this. And what did Dave Chappelle do? Dave Chappelle said, you know what? For the sake of the fans, I'll come back and do it. And he came back and he did it. And this time he's letting us know, I'm going to be going for a while. Because he knew, if I say what I got to say right now, they're going to come for my head. Notice everything that he said in that comedy skit. Or, I'm sorry, that comedy special. Notice everything that Dave Chappelle said in that comedy special. And the only people who came at him was that community. The only people who came at him. He spoke about politics. He spoke about Catholic leaders. He spoke about all kind of individuals that we all know. He said names. He spoke about people. And the only group that tried to out him was that community. Like I said, I'm not mentioning them. But you know what community I'm talking about. They are the only ones who feel like they got a right to say, you know what, we canceling you. No. Why? Because somebody's speaking their mind? What? You think it's normal for people to just be like, yeah, this is what one thing was for a good portion of my life. Now I got to deal with this. No. That's not how people are. That's not how life works. You can't make other people adjust to something that you've adjusted to. You can't force that upon people. That's what that community wants. They want the rest of the world to adjust to what they've adjusted to. But that's not reality. That's not reality. Nobody has to adjust to what you adjust to. We don't have to. There's billions of people in the world. You know how many alphas is in this world? Male, female. Come on, man. Get out of here, man. Salute to Dave Chappelle. But thank y'all. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. Let me know how y'all feel about this whole thing. Dave Chappelle, you think Dave Chappelle should fall back, let his stock rise again for another 3, 4, 5 years, then come back and hit us with a fire special? By that time, he'll be a little bit older, though. So this is something that we have to keep in mind. A lot of our comedians, the Martin, the Dave Chappelle's, the D.L. Hughley's, Cedric the Entertainer, they're all getting old. Eddie Murphy, old. Paul Mooney just left us. God rest his soul. You know what I mean? Steve Harvey, old. All of our entertainers, man. Kevin Hart is getting up there, man. Kevin Hart damn near 50. You understand? Cat Williams. Cat gonna be 50 in a few. You understand what I'm saying? We're losing all of our comedians. They're taking away one of the biggest parts of our humor as a people, as a culture. Like from Eddie Murphy's Raw and Delirious all the way up until now. Humor is, you know what I mean? Comedy is something that we need when we go through adversity, when we go through a depressed time, when we're stressed out. What do we say? Yo, let's go to the movies. Let's go get a bite to eat, or yo, let's go watch this movie real quick. Might be action, but let's watch this joint real quick. Let's watch this comedy special. Why? Because you're gonna laugh and you're gonna look left and right and say, yo, it's funny as hell. But he's telling the truth though. But that's why they are who they are. That's why they are who they are, because they can deliver the truth to you in a way that you can laugh. So when you go through these experiences, you can laugh and say, you know what? It's okay. It's all right. But this is something that community wants to take away from the world, because when it comes to comedy, the color kind of fades. When these comedians get up there, when you know a comedian is speaking from the heart, you can look into that stage. You look into that crowd, rather, and it looks like a box of crayons, because it's every single color out there. Every shade of individual man, woman walking from all corners of earth to support a Dave Chappelle or a Cat Williams or Kevin Hart, who sold out England, sold out Canada. Do you understand what that means? You're selling out places where there's a good portion of people who don't look like you. So what does that tell you about that person's comedy? That person's truth is so funny that it's reaching people that don't look like them. That's what you call being able to affect people without forcing them to have to do it. That's why people love Dave Chappelle. That's why people love Cat Williams, Kevin Hart. People love them because these comedians, these black comedians, can make people who don't look like them appreciate their work without forcing them. Nobody's forcing them to come up and buy them tickets and show up to them shows. Nobody's forcing them people to go and repeat everything that's said from the Chappelle show. Nobody's forcing them to do that. That's an appreciation. But no, that community, they're trying to force us to adjust to the life that they've created for themselves. Well, I don't have to adjust. I'm here to say that. I'm not adjusting to that. I'm going to let you know that right now. It's quiet for all of that. It's quiet for all of that. You understand me? You understand me? You understand? Because every man, every woman, when they come together as a family, however you rule your household, the rules you make in that household, that's the rules that that child goes by, whether they're in that house or not. You are the teacher before they step into any classroom. The house is the classroom before they get to that school. Understand that. And nowhere in my household or any house that I stepped in, slept in as a child, raised in, was anything of that nature accepted. How I was raised? What does it say in that book? Adam, Eve. Simple. As a child, that's all you had to explain to me. Boy, girl, that's it. That's all you need to explain to me. Like I said, you have your own preference. That's cool. But don't force it on other people. And don't get mad when people speak their truth about how they view you. How could you judge a comedian based upon his viewings of you? It's crazy. But like I said, love, life, and loyalty is the motto. Stay safe, stay real, and stay true. Y'all rock with me, I rock with you. Leave your questions, leave your comments. Let me know how y'all feel about this situation. Let me know how y'all feel about an entire community, such as the one I'm speaking of, being able to just cancel people. A comedian with legendary status like Dave Chappelle that has had plenty of people give him the head nod, from the Paul Moonies to the Eddies. They give Dave that nod. But this group wants to cancel him. Let me know how y'all feel about that. Peace.